Now, if you or a loved one has had a hip replacement, listen up. The Stryker Corporation is recalling two of its best hip replacement systems. Attorney Jim Higgins recently sat down with Christy to talk about it.
Attorney Jim Higgins, thank you so much for being with us.
Sure.
Now today we are talking about the Stryker Hip Replacement. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, this has been a recent recall, and we've had other cases we've talked about that we deal with in our office where a medical product gets recalled, and the same thing has happened with a Stryker Hip, which is a pretty big brand, and there's a lot of them out there. So we're getting a lot of phone calls, and people are concerned as to what's happening, but unfortunately what we're learning is there may be an early breakdown of these hips. They may have to have a complete replacement, and that's some sobering news for a lot of people when they go through a hip replacement, which is a hard thing to go through, and they may have to have a revision and have it all redone again.
So what should someone do if they think they've had a Stryker hip replacement?
Well, there's a couple ways they may find out, and then when they do that, well, they may get a letter. A lot of times, when a recall comes about, one, they'll hear about it, on news shows and things like that. A lot of times, the company was supposed to send out letters to say you've had one of these hips, you've had one installed. Go see your physician or contact an attorney or them about it. If you're not sure and you think you may have one of these hips, the first thing you do is just go see your orthopedic or your surgeon who put it in. And they can tell you whether the hip that was installed was in fact one of these hips that may be recalled. And the second thing is truly just don't panic. I mean, not every hip fails. Not every hip is going to need to be replaced. So there's no need to be traumatized early. You go in, see your physician, see if you have one of these hips that's been recalled. If you had, then there's a medical decision to be made between you and your doctor as to whether or not you want the hip taken out, whether you want to put a replacement hip in, or you just want it to carry on with the way it is and see how it's going. And the doctor can do all sorts of tests, check for metals in your blood and things like that to see if it looks like it's failing. And of course, a lot of people have symptoms, pain, swelling, things like that.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, does it take a while to notice symptoms if you do have that particular hip replacement and there is a problem, or is it something that you don't notice?
Well, with these, with our offices, found out that everyone's different. They react differently. Some people find out earlier. I mean, there are a lot of our clients that are having these symptoms of pain, swelling, things like that, and of course there are people all over the country that have had these, and that's why this recall has come about. People are getting these symptoms earlier than they would think, and they're having problems earlier than they would think, and so that's why this is happening.
So when should someone contact you?
I think if you've had a recall, I think that they should contact our office pretty early. We have experts and folks that we work with that can look at the case. We can talk about your options. What we have found in dealing with these hip recall cases and the ones we've dealt in the past is you want to make sure you get your lost wages covered, your pain, suffering, all your future medical costs, all those things. And you, in my opinion, you really need to talk to a lawyer that deals with that.
All right, thank you so much, Jim.
Thank you.
The Higgins Firm is serving Tennessee. Give them a call at 615-353-0930, or for more info and a link to their website, higginsfirm.com, go to the More at Midday section of WSMV.com.